Welcome in to News and Views with Tom Lamprecht. The stories you've heard and the ones you need to hear.
Inflation raging out of control.
See a recession coming.
Come on, don't make things up, okay? There's nothing inevitable about a recession.
Unhinged crime in our cities.
The DA's culpable. Someone that commits terrible acts like this should be in prison.
Gas prices today over $5 a gallon in the United States.
Doubled since President Biden has taken office.
Your life, your values, your voice. This is News and Views with Tom Lamprecht on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome in. It is News and Views for a Tuesday. There's actually one thing that has significantly decreased in cost. And clearly, the credit needs to be given to the Joe Biden administration. The Democratic National Committee has slashed their price for a photo with Vice President Kamala Harris from $15,000 to $5,000. Because nobody was signing up. Now, who would sign up for $5,000?
I want to meet that idiot. I really do. I didn't know where you're going with this. I thought you were going to say the price of bicycle helmets had decreased.
Follow the money. Follow the money. While we laugh at this is pretty significant. You're going to see more and more, and there's a bunch of polling I'm going to get to in a little bit. And what's interesting about the polling is basically Joe and Kamala are sucking mud with their own party. Even the Democrats think the guy's nuts.
Yeah, you're seeing more and more Democrats in Congress and the networks. You might can say some of the networks are actually concerned about their ratings as they should be, but you're seeing a lot of Democrats just come out and distance themselves.
They ought to.
Especially, and what I'm getting ready to say here kind of supports my theory I've had for 2 or 3 years, especially anyone's had anything to do with the Obama administration. Former economic advisors, Larry Summers.
Exactly. We just talked about that yesterday.
And you've heard other folks that I think they're just trying to distance themselves. There's no way, this drop in the $15,000 to $5,000 Kamala Harris, there's no way a Democrat running for the midterms wants to be associated with her.
Right.
And if the bicycle incidents didn't kind of solidify the fact that we have a president that is severely declining in mental and physical health, and there's no way he's going to run again. It's not going to happen.
When Ronald Reagan beat Walter Mondale, for some reason Mondale
like a rented mule.
Oh, it was unbelievable. But the next day, Walter Mondale had a conciliatory speech, and it was actually took place up in Baltimore for some reason. I don't remember why he was in Baltimore at the time. But I remember watching that and actually almost feeling sorry for Walter Mondale because, there was nobody there. And, the Biden administration, remember Biden and Kamala Harris were both out, I think it was in Phoenix, and they were going to have this press conference, and there was more reporters there than there were just people supporting the ticket.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, in Phoenix, fifth or sixth largest metro in the country?
And nobody showed up. And nobody's showing up. What moron, as you said? I'd like to meet the moron that would actually pay $5,000 to get his or her picture taken with the VP. I do want to cover this. There was a hearing down in Texas today, and the head of the Texas Department of Public Safety criticized law enforcement response to the Uvalde mass killing. He called it an abject failure. What is just unbelievable about this situation, Steve McCraw was his name, and he said that the police that were there at the school were basically there in full body armor, ready to go in within just a couple of minutes.
3 minutes.
3 minutes they were ready to go in. They didn't go in for an hour and 14 minutes.
And the classroom door was not locked, as previously told. In fact, they said it was not even there's not even a lock on the inside that you can lock it from the inside.
We're talking, and I'm pulling from memory here, but I believe it wasn't until that border agent who was getting his hair cut at the barber in town, realized what was going on. I don't know if he had his two-way radio on or what, but realized what was going on. Borrowed a gun from the barbershop owner, went over to the school, and he was the guy that took them out. Mm-hmm. I mean, if he had not gone, how long would they have waited? Because, and as you said before we went on there, you would have thought that one of the other officers would say, I don't care if you're my commander or not, I am not going to obey an unlawful directive, which maybe that's taking it too far to call it unlawful, but certainly unwise.
Well, I'm always apprehensive. I give the law enforcement and the military for the benefit of the doubt at first, just because they are, and all first responders and military. I mean, they
putting their life on the line
as a career. They choose a career to run towards danger instead of run away from it. But I mean, this was an absolute failure by the commander. A prime example of this. I mean, they've been training for these type things, but especially the year or so after Columbine. I mean, they all get the training. And it's just like law enforcement, just like special forces and the Navy SEALs, they get training for tense situations. You don't want your emotions to take over. You want your training to take over. And you train and train and train, so it's just like second nature. The training takes over. You don't think about anything else other than your training, and it's just a failure.
Yeah. This next story, I want to try to handle it and keep it at least PG. But this is so bizarre and so sick. And unfortunately, it's not the first time we've had such a story on News and Views. Fortunately, they're not often. But because of the nature of this story, which is just a reflection of how depraved our society has become, I feel like I've got to touch it, and I'm not going to dwell on it. But Charlotte Mecklenburg police said there was a case of bestiality between a young man and a 31-year-old. I mean, it's a fairly young man, but it's an adult, and a dog. I mean, this is sick. I mean, apparently it was happening in a car. People called the police. The dog is okay. But I looked at this and I said, you got to be kidding me. How does this happen? I mean, there's another story a few years back where it was between a Marine and a dog down somewhere near, not too far from Jacksonville.
Oh, my goodness. I didn't hear about that.
I mean, this is going back probably 4 or 5 years ago. I don't want to dwell on it, but, you know, when people have this attitude towards just a perverse lifestyle, at what point does it stop? I mean, this is how depraved has our society gotten? And I realize this is the exception; it's not the rule. But yet, at the same time, you just shake your head and, Lord, be merciful to us. I mean, this is Sodom and Gomorrah kind of stuff. It's mind-boggling to me.
I did not hear that story.
Either one of them, or the one that was out today?
No, the one that's out today. My goodness, it's sick. There's no other way to say it. And to your point, it just tells us where we've gotten in society. You know, when conservatives have said things in the past about, you know, hey, if we go here, we're going to go down this slippery slope, and sooner or later
they're laughed at by the media.
We're laughed at. We're called fear mongering, and now we're there.
Yeah,
I mean,
how much worse can it get? Carolina Journal is reporting a unanimous North Carolina Court of Appeals panel has dismissed a New Bern eye surgeon's challenge against the state's certification of need restrictions. The surgeon has announced he will appeal the ruling. Appellate judges agreed that Dr. Jay Singleton had failed to make a case that the certificate of need violated his constitutional rights, yet Judge John Tyson's majority opinion highlighted problems associated with the state's certificate of need process. Quote, while the counsel for the defendants clearly and correctly admitted that the certificate of need status is restrictive, anti-competitive, and create monopolistic policies towards powers to the holder, and plaintiffs correctly assert the certificate of need process is costly and fraught with gross delays, and service needs are not kept current, those challenges can also be asserted before the General Assembly, commissions, and against the agency where a factual record can be built, Tyson wrote. So basically, it sounds to me like as the judge was writing this opinion, and it was a majority opinion, that, and I think it was a unanimous decision, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
But basically, what he's saying is you need to take it to the General Assembly, not to a court. More or less is what he's saying. Tyson suggested other avenues for addressing the certificate of need concerns in the future. Plaintiff's complaints has also not asserted a violation of North Carolina's unfair and deceptive trade practices or right to work status. Plaintiffs also failed to assert that it had sought reclassification of certain surgical and treatment procedures under its medical and licenses and certifications, which can safely be done at its center and clinic without the need for a certificate of need operating room. The remedy plaintiffs admittedly and essentially seek is for fact-finding administrative record and decisions thereon to be cast aside and a certificate of need to be summarily issued by the court. Tyson said, we cannot do that. So it sounded to me like the court was empathetic to the doctor and was not a fan of the certificate of need legislation. And I've often wondered why the Republican Party that is in control of the House and the Senate, why we are continuing to hang on to the certificate of need.
Well, it was a unanimous opinion, by the way. And reading the opinion, to your point, to me it sounded like, hey, you brought it on the wrong grounds,
right?
Basically,
right.
You argued on the wrong
thing.
Technicality type of thing. I find, I've got some friends that disagree with me on the certificate of need on my position because I'm a free market type person, and I understand certain areas, particularly healthcare. There's, some differences, but I typically find the opinion is based on this. If you got a certificate of need, you like them. If you don't have one, you don't like them.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I've got a monopoly, I like it.
I have, in 33 years in business, I've heard people argue against certificate of needs, and once they got one, they like them. So
yeah.
But there's a lot.
Hey, if I got, back when there was a limited amount of tobacco that you could grow, you were grateful that you had.
Absolutely,
the right to grow tobacco.
I like that allotment thing. I got it, and you don't.
Yeah, exactly. Tyson's opinion acknowledges that the single certificate of need allocated to Carolina East, which was the hospital down in the New Bern area, has not been revised for over 10 years since 2012. The 2021 State Medical Facilities Plan states there's no need for new operating room capacity in the Craven, Jones, and Pamlico counties planning area, Tyson noted. The Tri-County planning area encompasses an area of approximately 1,814 square miles. Representatives of Carolina East informed plaintiffs they will oppose any application they submit for an additional operating room certificate of need within the Tri-County area. To your point, sounds like those who have want to keep and don't want anyone else to get.
Yeah, and they'll argue that, hey, the large investment they've got to recoup this large investment and that type of thing. And when you allow, competition, they can't recoup their investment. The bottom line is they recoup their investment, but really they don't want to say it. But these things, these monopolies for procedures and things, help them pay for indigent care is what it boils down to. Because there's a lot of people that aren't paying, and the ones that are paying have to make up for it.
Well, and I guess that is a fair comeback, is if you're going to, while they have the certificate of need monopoly, they also have obligations that they have to pay for which they have limited income. Perhaps, but here's the question. If they didn't have that other obligation, the second obligation for indigent care, would they be willing to give up the certificate of need? Well, I'm just asking the questions.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't.
Keith Kidwell just tweeted me, I've already submitted legislation to repeal certificate of need. Keith, give us a call. I'd like to talk to you about this, see where it's going to go. We're going to take a break. Maybe we'll hear from Keith when we get back. 561-8255. We'll be right back.
Got a trade? Then get to Greenville Toyota. We're out to buy 500 local trades, and we'll buy you out with our best offer. Or trade in for a new Toyota and get our Greenville Advantage with no-cost lifetime maintenance and more. Don't miss the trade buyout at Greenville Toyota.
Hey, we're at Maribella's in Greenville, the new location of Maribella's on Fire Tower Road. If you haven't been to this place yet, let me tell you, you are missing out. I want to introduce my friends from Marabella's. I've got Sal, Massimo, and Pietro here. These guys are awesome. Not only do they make great food, they do a lot of things for the community, which we're going to be talking about. But Sal, let's start with you. Let's talk about the new location of Marabella's on Fire Tower Road. I'm a regular here. I love it. You guys call it Old World Pizza. Tell us what's different about your pizza.
Well, we got two kinds of pizzas. We have the traditional, American style, and then we have the Old World Pizza, which is made with fresh mozzarella, and the way they do it in Italy.
Massimo, when you talk about doing this food right, it's authentic. And when I talk about authentic, you grew up in Italy, so you grew up with this food. You know how to make it.
Yeah, because we grew up in Italy, we know the ingredient, and everything we do from scratch. And the right ingredient it's been hard for us to bring over here. And now finally we can get the right ingredient to make a right pizza.
All right, now I'm going to talk to my friend Pietro here at Marabella's. He's got the Nino's shirt on today. We're going to talk about Nino's, which is another great dining experience, upscale dining experience, on another segment upcoming. But Pietro, let's talk about Marabella's. For people who've never been to Marabella's, what's the experience going to be like when they come here? Not only pizzas, but pastas, salads, sandwiches, you got it all.
Yes, we do. We have new sandwiches that we put in this new location, and we're going to spread it to the other locations.
The guys here at Marabella's have won national pizza competitions, so you know it's good. Thanks to Sal, Massimo, and Pietro. Folks, do yourself a favor. Come to the new Marabella's here on Fire Tower Road in Greenville, or Marabella's on Greenville Boulevard, or Marabella's in Washington on Carolina Avenue. Also, don't forget upscale dining at Nino's on Red Banks Road.
What do you see when you imagine life on the coast? Is it salty or sweet? Is it refined or a bit wild? Perhaps it's the perfect combination of everything you ever dreamed of. This is the very best of living on the coast. Bow Coast.
It pays to pre-order at Greenville Toyota. Camrys, Corollas, Tundras, RAV4s, Highlanders, and more are on the way. Pre-order yours today. Plus, get more for your trade. It pays to pre-order at Greenville Toyota.
Let's go, Brandon.
When we're not covering Brandon's heroics.
This Brandon, what does he play?
Well, Mr. President, they're not,
Folks, let's hear it for Brandon. What a job he's doing. Let's go, Brandon.
Now back to News and Views on 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome back in. Do you realize it's less than 2 weeks away to 4th of July? 2 weeks from yesterday. Wow. I mean, today's the first day of summer, too, by the way. But you feel like 4th of July, summer's half over. I don't know. I mean, I know technically it's not, but it just sort of feels that way. Taking a look at your weather forecast for the next couple of days. Tonight, some clouds, a low around 64. Tomorrow, mainly sunny. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible, a high near 95. Tomorrow night, scattered thunderstorms, and a chance of rain tomorrow night is 40%. We need the rain. Thursday, partly to mostly cloudy, a stray shower or thunderstorm is possible, high of 88 on Thursday. Weather brought to you by our friends at the Ironwood Country Club. Whether you're looking to spend your summer poolside, courtside, or greenside, Ironwood Golf and Country Club offers a variety of memberships tailored to fit your lifestyle with no initiation fee required. And listen, if you're headed to the beach, pack your clubs. Ironwood members receive reciprocal golf and dining privileges at the Beaufort Club in Beaufort and Compass Point Golf Club at Magnolia Greens, located near Wilmington. Contact Membership Director Jenna Doyle. Her number is 752-4653. Join in the fun at Ironwood today, a part of the Renaissance Golf Group. Keith Kidwell, who represents North Carolina's 79th House District, is on the line with us. Keith, welcome to News and Views. You and your fellow colleagues, it looks like you've got about another week of work left before the short session ends. You just texted me that you have submitted a piece of legislation that would end certificate of need. When did you do that, and where does it stand?
Well, so technically, Tom, I did that when we reconvened session in the long session, so about a year and a half ago. Didn't get any traction on any interest from either house until the Senate decided to run a bill with Medicaid expansion, and they threw the con law in the Medicaid expansion, the repeal of con, because they were trying to get me to go on the Medicaid expansion bill, and they figured if they threw con in it, I'd vote for it. Well, they don't know me very well because that's not how I do things. So,
as Benny was talking about earlier, the idea of free trade, open trade, that's sort of a slam dunk for conservatives. And we've got a fairly conservative legislature up there amongst the Republicans who are in the majority. I'm surprised there's not more movement on this.
Well, go look at what happened with the Medicaid expansion in the Senate. We only had 2 Republicans that voted against the Medicaid expansion bill, and it's not because con repeal was in there, Tom. It's they voted for Medicaid expansion. Wrong thing to do at the wrong time. Matter of fact, John Locke just came out with an article that it's absolutely the wrong thing at this time. There was even an article in the Wall Street Journal 2 weeks ago that told us how badly the states are now getting hit that expanded Medicaid. So we're not going to do that. I don't care if they put the con laws in there or not. With that said, con laws need to go. Their time is up. In fact, the federal government had con laws. And after a few years of being in, even the federal government finally admitted these don't work. Get rid of them. They stifle business. The problem we have is the hospitals get protection through con laws, and that, as an example, my eye doctor, which I know the guy that sued down in New Bern, I've actually talked with him. My eye doctor told me there's processes and procedures he can do in his office for $800 that he cannot do because of con laws. He has to go rent the suite at the hospital, and the hospital gets $8,000, plus then you have to pay the doctor, okay? So we're literally increasing medical costs to appease the hospitals because they'll tell you they can't survive without con laws in place. I wish they had that type of law for my business. I'm in the tax business, and they tell me, well, you don't know what we have to compete against. I'm like, guys, have you had to compete against free? Because that's what I have to compete against every day. So let's go back to a free capitalist society, get rid of the con laws, and let's let these businesses do what they need to do. I'm pretty sure there's nobody in eastern North Carolina or North Carolina as a whole that's going to go put in an MRI machine, let's say, without first seeing, hey, am I going to actually make money on this? I don't see that happen.
Keith, I've talked to people. I've been in professional life almost 33 years now, and I've had people in the healthcare industry argue about, hey, if we don't have these things, the healthcare costs will go up. I said, well, now I've got 33 years worth of data, and look at the daggone cost curve with healthcare costs. I don't know if I want to be listening to any ideas about cost containment from people in the industry. I think we should look at things doing a little bit differently, and I agree with you on the certificate of needs.
Well, Benny, as a fellow accountant, let me give you this quick story that actually happened in a committee meeting. I had somebody get up there and tell us that we could not use the other 49 states for comparison because it was too small of a pool to draw from. And I questioned, I said, well, do you have a pool that would be appropriate that's still on this planet? Because we always use the other 49 states when we're drafting legislation. So that's number one. The next thing, and this is really the bad part, Benny, she sat there and told the committee, this is the Medicaid Expansion Access to Health Committee, which would consider the con laws. She told the committee, we're going to use the state of Wyoming for comparison because in population, it's about half the size of North Carolina. Now, I remembered I read the size of Wyoming, so I Googled it. Wyoming has 582,000 people, I believe it was. North Carolina, 10.49 million. So I pointed that out to her. I said, you just said this was half the size. And here's the numbers I just Googled. And she said, yeah, that's about half. I said, no, that's 5%. I said, now the problem we have is now all these numbers you've thrown around this morning are suspect because you're that far off on your very first number. I said, the good news is I'm an accountant. Come down to my office when we're done, and we'll review the rest of your math.
Yeah, basic fractions maybe.
Yeah. Well, plus, if someone's talking to me about comparing North Carolina to Wyoming, then I can kind of question their education, because that if you know anything about geography, that's not even close in demographic data. I mean, it's not even a fair comparison.
Keith, how do you respond to what Benny brought up before the break? That is, the response to the hospitals will be, yeah, but we have indigent care that we've got to cover, and therefore we need what I'll call the certificate of need special privilege that other people don't have access to.
But we definitely have some problems in healthcare. There's absolutely no doubt about that. The biggest part of the problem is it's too expensive, and Con would reduce the cost across the board.
Good point.
The other problem we have is that when people are using health insurance, they're using a third-party payer.
Right.
So they don't care what the cost is because they're going to pay their deductible. The point would be you can go to New Bern and get the exact same shoulder surgery that's going to cost you, I think the number was $25,000 in Greenville, and it was like $7,000 in New Bern. Nobody shops that price because they don't care, because they're not paying the bill.
Keith, Keith, to your point on that, we have been listening. I was on a committee a couple of governors ago, and I made the comment. I looked around the room after all these ideas. I made the comment. I looked around these rules. There's 25 people in this room, and I think about 2 have ever written a check for their health care costs or health care insurance in their entire adult life. So that's the problem. Yep. You've got too many people at the table that's never had skin in the game.
Right.
My opinion,
exactly
anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you look at con laws, it's doing a lot of protectionism. I think we can work with the hospitals. There's so much that needs to be done. And one of the best parts is Beth Wood, and is one of the few Democrats that I just really think does her job phenomenally. She did an audit, I think it was Wake County. There was $500 million in Medicaid waste, fraud, and abuse.
Just in that one county.
Just in one county. That was about 3 years ago. If we were to go through the counties and fix this, we'd be able to afford to give health care to anybody that wanted it. So let's not expand Medicaid. Let's fix it.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's not stop competition. Let's encourage it, because that's going to help every one of us, from the hospitals right down to the people like you and I, Benny, to have to pay our own health insurance.
Hey, don't forget me now. Of course.
All right, Tom. And I do want to point something out to you, Tom. June 21st is the first day of summer, not halfway through summer. All right? And the reason I point that out is it's my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Keith.
Oh, isn't that special?
So, you're still the youngest member in the North Carolina House?
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm not that.
Happy birthday, Keith. Thanks for calling in. Do appreciate it.
Have a good night.
You too. Stay with us. Benny and I'll be right back.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Another rock and roll weekend.
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
You know that moment when you realize your hair color is way past its prime? Or that you need a change and you hope it comes in the form of perfectly sun-kissed highlights? And at Fantastic Sam's, we offer real salon services at real people prices. Our color specialists can do it all. They make grays disappear, layer in subtle highlights, or help you finally find that perfect shade of red. All for real reasonable prices.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville, do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Air service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
Gas prices, rising costs, your groceries.
Everything is
Massive inflation, way up.
going through the roof.
It's outrageous.
Hold on to your wallet.
What's coming through your speaker?
Information, the latest news and updates.
Or your smart device.
The conversation right now.
This is complete insanity.
It's free.
There's a lot going on right now.
We have to understand what that means.
Listen on the TuneIn Radio app and Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in. So pro-abortion and anti-abortion protesters are outside the Supreme Court. Nothing was released on the Dobbs case yet, which possibly could overturn Roe v. Wade, which would not end abortion. It would send the decision back to the states. But it got a little ugly up there. And, you know, while the pro-abortion crowd wants to push the narrative that the pro-life crowd are so mean. They're so mean to us. You know, they'll claim the snowflake syndrome. Bottom line is the pro-abortion crowd outside the Supreme Court went after Students for Life up at the Supreme Court. I can't repeat to you what they said. I can't. I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised. Anything you say.
Imagine the worst. And
did you see the group a couple of nights ago marching at Amy Coney Barrett's house with, you know, fake blood in their private parts, and had a like a baby doll, like they had ripped the baby out? I mean, these people are sick. And you've got sitting U.S. congressmen and senators. To me, I mean, if they want to investigate anything regarding insurrection or inciting violence,
exactly.
That's who's.
Is this not a third branch of our government?
Yeah, the leaders of the Democrat Party is saying, "Hey, go for it," and not them, but other organizations are releasing the times and places that Amy Coney Barrett goes to church.
Yeah. Well, Chucky the Clown Schumer got up there and mentioned by name Gorsuch and Kavanaugh and said, "We are coming after you. You won't know what hits you."
Mm-hmm. And look, I don't care if it's a Democrat or Republican. I do not believe you should protest at anyone's house.
It's against the law. You can't. But I mean, again, here's a situation. There are laws on the books, and now we have, you know, the conservatives in D.C. and the House and the Senate are saying we need to pass legislation that will protect the Supreme Court justices. Now, I know that what they're talking about is actually, okay, we're going to finance and make sure that they have what is equivalent to Secret Service protection. But the idea that we've got to pass laws, it's already against the law. Merrick Garland can send people out today and have all those people arrested, and he should.
And he's doing nothing.
Nothing.
And he has proven that Mitch McConnell did the right thing and not allow the process to go through with Merrick Garland when President Obama appointed him to the Supreme Court.
Well,
nominated him to the Supreme Court. I mean, he is a political hack, without a doubt.
But again, the fact that we have the sanctity of the homes of these Supreme Court justices and the sanctity of their family being violated.
Mm-hmm.
And it is it's not a one-time event that lasted 3 hours. This has been going on for weeks now.
Yeah.
And you talk about an insurrection. This is an attack on the third branch of our government.
And if you look at some of these people protesting, I've seen some of the ones marching, that you can look at, there's some nuts, absolute nuts there, and sooner or later one's going to be so extreme, something's going to happen.
Well, we already had the guy show up with a gun and a knife at Kavanaugh's house, and Joe Biden has yet to condemn that.
Silent. Completely silent. The leaders of the Democrat Party are just silent on it.
By the way, this is a real change of topic here. The News and Observer ran an op-ed today that was written by Robert Pittenger, who was a member of Congress for North Carolina. He represented North Carolina's 9th Congressional District from 2013 to 2019. And he writes, as I meet with parliamentarians throughout the globe, organizing security and technology briefings with noted experts from industry, government, and think tanks, I find mixed feelings about America today. While most leaders respect us, they often voice concerns about our commitments and values. These concerns often focus on our misguided abdications of promises made to our allies and the precipitous withdrawal from Iraq and Afghanistan with their disastrous outcomes. They also focus on our look-the-other-way attitude on egregious violations of human rights and religious freedoms in China, as U.S. private equity groups invest hundreds of billions in China. China is not our competitor, it is our adversary. President Xi has made clear the objective of China to have world dominance and superiority in the economy, military power, and technology. Now the world watches the over-eager financial pursuit of some self-serving golf stars being bought by the Saudis to start the new LIV Golf League. In joining the league, the golfers are giving the Saudis cover for killing the journalist Jamal Khashoggi, the lack of freedom for women, and the persecution of non-Sunni Muslims. While it is evident that Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, and other golf stars are shamelessly being bought, the deeper, more compelling concern is their lack of gratitude for the PGA platform that launched their careers. From my native state of Texas, our commitment was, you dance with the one who brung you. That is not so. That is not so far for the big-time golfers, self-absorbed and leaving in the dust of the PGA, an organization that skyrocketed their brand and their fortunes. From what I see, they represent the worst of America. I hope the international stages where they have representative of our country have good judgment to wave goodbye to them. They don't raise the high flag of America and should not have the honor to represent us. Robert Pittenger. I don't know if you've been following this new Saudi Golf League, but they are paying enormous amounts of money.
Yeah, Dustin Johnson, $150 million.
Brian DeChambeau was the latest, 28 years old. He won the 2020 U.S. Open. He got a payoff of $100 million to go over. DeChambeau has won. Dustin Johnson, $125 million.
Okay, $125.
Phil Mickelson, $200 million. Wow. Now, this is just to go. This is just a signing bonus.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they don't have to do a thing. I think they have to. It was a one-year commitment to go over and play in the Saudi Golf League. And what's interesting is most of the tournaments are going to be here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm more free market libertarian. People should be able to do what they. But I see the guy's point.
Pittenger's point
that they were. Hey, they were, the PGA was with them when they were struggling coming up and that type of thing. But at the same time, the PGA, I guarantee if these Saudis came to PGA, say, hey, do 2 or 3 events here, do this, we'll give you $2 billion, they'd say, where do we sign? I just believe it.
Well, it's interesting because, Harold Varner played, and I don't think it was an NIV event, but he played in that
Dubai.
event. Yeah, in
Dubai.
Dubai.
I think, yeah.
And
he won, the one he with long putt.
Yeah, he won with that long putt. And the PGA, that wasn't apparently in violation of anything, but now they're saying that these individuals that played in the first event, which took place June 9th and 10th, I think, over in London, they are now suspended from the PGA. It'd be interesting to see what happens there. But yeah, I thought the comments by Robert Pittenger were interesting. The other side of that coin is, I also agree with you in terms of free market. At some point, though, when do you say, okay, these people are not a declared enemy, but to a certain degree, do you put them in the adversary column?
It really, Mr. Pittenger, I'd like to see him if he had a $125 million contract in front. What is his connection to golf? Does he have any connection to golf?
No, he just has a connection to the United States of America, and just a comment that he was making as
maybe
former
he's a big golf
North
fan or something.
Congressman. So we'll see. Hey, we got to take another time out. Lots more to talk about. We'll be right back.
We're on location today at Fabric and Home Furnishings in Arlington Village here in Greenville. One of my favorite people. We've got Lisa Pendry here. And Lisa, big news. You've been working on the store. It looks fantastic. You finally have finished the transformation of the store. You've got your Norwalk gallery open. Give us the whole story here.
We are excited. It's been a big process. It's taken us a while, but now all of our renovations complete, from paint colors to little elegant showroom areas to highlight everything we offer here at Fabric and Home Furnishings.
And we say that it's a furniture store and so much more, and of course that means you also have designers on staff. So tell us about that. You got some new folks.
I do. I've got some new designers that we've added to our team that can come out to your home, walk you through the whole process, help you as much as you need us to pull your home together.
And there's a big party coming on June 16th. You've got your Norwalk Furniture grand opening gala, and it's going to be a big party here in the store, and that sounds like a lot of fun. Tell us about it.
It is. We hope to have dignitaries like Henry Hinton.
I'll be here.
And PJ Conley is going to come, our mayor. Lots of fun people. All of my designers that shop here are going to be here in the community, and we're going to have some champagne and some hors d'oeuvres, representatives from Norwalk, and just have a big night of fun and festivities and education on what we offer.
I'll tell you, the store is packed right now. I know a lot of furniture stores are still having trouble getting inventory, but you guys have a lot of stuff people can buy right off the floor.
We do, Henry. We invested in a warehouse, and we've added lots of inventory so you can just have it delivered or pick it up the day you buy it. So lots of sofas, chairs, everything in performance fabric so you can enjoy your furniture.
And you started 12 months same as cash.
We did start that so we can help with everything that's going on in the world right now.
All right, Fabric and Home Furnishings here in Arlington Village. Don't forget the big party, the grand opening gala for the Norwalk Gallery, coming up on June 16th at 5:30, big ribbon cutting, and it's going to be a big party. So I'll be here. You need to be here too. Thanks to Lisa for the update.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Empty lots at car dealers everywhere, except here. The selection you want is at Greenville Nissan. And during the Nissan Thrill of the Drive sales event, buy a new Nissan with financing as low as 0.9%. The versatile Nissan Rogue, the all-new Pathfinder, or gas-saving cars like Nissan Sentra and Altima. And yes, we have trucks. Buy the new Nissan Titan with 0.9% financing, or the all-new Frontier for $99 a month. Hurry to Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
Back to news and views. Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in. Breitbart News is reporting Joe Biden's attempts to convince American people that Russian leader Vladimir Putin is responsible for high gas prices and inflation has failed, according to polling data, with the biggest single driver of inflation being Putin's war against Ukraine. President of the United States has taken action to blunt the impact of Putin's price hike for families, the White House falsely claimed yesterday. The American public, however, is not buying what Biden is selling. Just 11% of Americans think Putin is to blame for high energy prices, according to a poll of 1,000 U.S. likely voters taken by Rasmussen between June 16th and June 19th, just a couple of days ago. Biden has also sought to blame oil companies and refineries for high prices, but just 29% find that convincing. By far the largest share of Americans, 52%, say that it is Biden's energy policies that are to blame for high gas prices. Biden has nominated at least 2 opponents of fossil fuels to key financial regulation posts. They have failed. Biden is sucking mud, rightly so. 80% of Republicans thinks Biden's policies are to blame for the rising cost of fuel. Most troubling for Biden, 54% of voters not affiliated with either major party, independents, blame Biden. He's in trouble. Amongst Democrats, only 24% blame Biden, 46% blame major oil companies, 20% blame Putin. Of all the things that Biden wants to talk about and point to and blame, and of course the whole January 6th thing is to try to besmirch Republicans, thinking that, okay, we're going to convince the voters that because of January 6th that they should vote for Democrats. Frank Luntz, the pollster, he's come out with a poll and basically is saying, nah, they're not buying.
And they are changing the narrative. I just heard today, Biden was, blaming the oil companies for being so profitable. So they're trying to change the narrative a little bit away from the Putin price hike nonsense. But
they will never admit that it is him.
Oh yeah. And look, I for one know there's a lot of other factors that are affecting the prices that goes back even prior to Biden. But hey, at least half of the price hikes is his issues, and the fact that, I mean, who wants to take any chances in the oil and gas industry right now? Number one, the banks and private equity groups won't invest in you, so because they're afraid what the government regulations are going to do, and number two, I mean, they're just not putting the capital there. So if you don't have the capital, it doesn't matter. It don't matter what you do.
Biden said how many times when he was running that he would end fossil fuels.
Oh yeah.
And stand crossways against fossil fuel expansion. One of his first actions was to cancel the permit for the Keystone Pipeline. He increased the royalty rate, which is essentially a tax rate on oil production on federal lands, by 50% the first year. That was the first hike in 100 years. And he increased it by 50%.
We would work it out. We would make sure it's eliminated.
Yeah.
I wish the White House correspondent Peter Doocy would ask and say, "Hey, where do you guys plug in the limousine that Joe Biden goes around in?"
Yeah.
Because I promise you, it's not running on electric.
Where do you plug in Joe Biden?
Yeah,
that's what I want to know.
A shot in the ass, as Donald Trump said.
By the way, before we get to our next caller, Twitter's board today recommended that shareholders greenlight the company's proposed $44 billion sale to Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk. So that was now it's up to the shareholders to decide. Obviously, Elon Musk wanted the shareholders to decide. Why would they not? Why would they vote against this? This is a boon.
Yeah, it's trading at about $36 a share or so right now.
I think
and it's 54 is the deal.
Yeah, $58.98 was this morning's share, and his initial offer was $54.20. So the board has said do it. Now he is also, there's another stipulation he has, that is that he wants to make sure that they straighten out how many of these, what do they call the fake followers, the bot followers, right? Let us know, all these followers you say that are out there, which are real and which are bots. 561-8255, our buddy Sutton is on the line. Hey, Sutton.
Hey, Sutton.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Doing great, Sutton. Good to hear from you.
Oh, yeah, just riding down here. Listening at you guys, and you're talking about the gorges and the picketing the Supreme Court justices and
exactly
concerning golf and everything, how they don't want to allow those guys to play in the U.S. once they play over there. But, my man, we got a system broke in the United States from the Justice Department up. You look at the NBA players, they sucked up to China.
Yep.
You look at the football coach that made a statement concerning the riots in the summer and the thing that happened at the courthouse, and they fined him for that.
Yeah.
But, you know, this thing starts with the Justice Department. We don't have a Justice Department that is functioning this day and time in the United States. So everything is tore up. And one more thing I'd like to ask, do you think the Justice Department will ever come back together to be about justice?
That's a good question.
Or is the Democrat going to continue to own the Justice Department?
Well, I will say this, Sutton. Right now, yeah, the Democrats do own the Justice Department, and Ray is in charge of the FBI, but he doesn't seem to be standing very strong. It's scary. That's a great point, Sutton.
Good point.
Who owns it? I hope if we get a conservative in the White House, if we get conservatives in the House, conservatives in the Senate, and control those, I hope we'll have a just Justice Department. We got to run. See ya.
What do you see when you imagine life on the coast? Is it salty or sweet? Is it refined or a bit wild? Perhaps it's the perfect combination of everything you ever dreamed of. This is the very best of living on the coast. Bow Coast.
Another rock and roll weekend.
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
And we're on location at one of my favorite places in the whole planet because this is some of the best food you're ever going to eat in your life. We are at Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. It's one of my hangouts. It's one of the places that I love. I got my friend Pietro Pasalacqua. How'd I do?
You did great.
Let's talk about the food. What makes this place? I know it's special Italian from authentic Italians, but tell us why it's so special.
Because everything we do, it's really what we came up on the menu from what we did at home, from my grandparents, my parents. So it's exactly what we eat at home, and that's the way we cook. That's why it's special.
And the atmosphere in this place is special also. From the bar to the two dining areas. You got two different dining areas, and now the weather's nice, so there's going to be a lot of folks that want to eat outside.
Yeah, we have two rooms. One room is designed a little different. We're also working on the patio to make it more attractive and more useful in the summer with a cocktail service. And we're always improving our services.
And, of course, my friends here, my buddy, Chef Massimo, who I love, and Sal and Pietro, you guys do a great job here. Not just Italian, but I had a great pork chop here the other night. You got great steaks, too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're also adding filet mignon in the future on our menu. And Massimo is coming out with a really good side dishes for it. And so we're really excited to come out with new meats and fish dishes.
All right, Nino's on Red Banks Road in Greenville. Same people that give you Marabello's and the great pizza that you get at Marabello's, but this is fine dining at Nino's. If you haven't been here, you don't know what you're missing. Come see them at Nino's on Red Banks Road. And Pietro, what is that famous saying about Nino's?